Welcome, Liberty families. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our Rising 7th Grade Information Night. My name is Amanda Thrower, and I am the proud principal here at Liberty. And we're excited to welcome we'll be excited to welcome back our Rising 7th graders next fall. But we also know that due to redistricting, we have quite a few, I think it's approximately 40 students coming to us from North Middle. So welcome. We are excited to have you and kind of introduce you to the Liberty Way tonight. I have several people here with me helping this evening that I'm going to introduce you to. We're coming to you live from the Liberty Conference Room. So we have our administrators, Ms. Kristen Keith and Mr. Ross Watson, who just came back into the room, Ms. Sue Sabo, one of our counselors, and then Ms. Meg Begno. And once we head back to our presentation view, you'll be able to see more up-close photos of them, so you can put faces with names, and they will be unmasked also in those photos, which will probably help. We're going to spend some time tonight just walking you through kind of how things run at Liberty so that you and your student know what to expect. But we also like to take advantage, particularly when it comes to the 7th grade year, to orient families just with some of those social, emotional, and behavioral differences you can expect to see with your kiddo. 7th grade is a big year socially and emotionally. It's that year where they officially become a teenager. So if this is your first, just take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. I have my middle child is in 7th grade right now, and we are surviving just fine. And my oldest is a freshman in high school. So just want to kind of take a moment to go over with parents some things to expect from that standpoint, in addition to the academic piece. So moving on, well, I introduced myself and my 2 assistant principals for the year. Ms. Kristen Keith is coming to us from Otwell Middle School. If you've been at Liberty for a while, you probably are familiar with Mr. Ronnie McNeese, who has been here, I think, for 11 years, and he has decided to retire at the end of the school year. We're super excited for him, and we'll miss him, but we're also thrilled to have Kristen joining our team. And then we also have Mr. Ross Watson, who is just a fantastic in so many ways, does so much with our scheduling, making sure that students get into all the classes that they need. And so he will be talking to you tonight in a little bit about that process in terms of class recommendations and so forth. We also have an incredible team of support who help me and who are here for the students. Ms. Sabo is here with us tonight, and she'll be sharing a lot about that social emotional piece with you. We also are thrilled to have Ms. Kylie Swanberg, who will be joining us next year. She is coming to us from Forsyth Central High School. And so her expertise of kind of understanding that next high school level and how we can best equip kids for that next phase will be invaluable to us as a team. We also have Ms. Meg Begno, who's here tonight running all of the tech for us. And Meg is our instructional technology specialist. And then Ms. Dottie Phobes is our special ed department chair. So just wanted to put some faces and some names out there to you so you know some folks you can get in contact with if you've ever got any questions or need support with anything. Our mission at Liberty is to empower our students to revolutionize, transform, and leave a legacy in the communities they serve both today and in the future. That aspect of community is really important to us, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, and how we work to embody that as a school community, and help our students see how they are integral parts of their community. Our vision, we want our students to know that we believe in them, and in doing so, grow to believe in themselves. We strongly believe that the best tools we can give students as they head into high school is a belief in themselves, that they're going to get that diploma, that they can tackle those AP courses, whatever goal it is they have for themselves. We want to equip them with that belief in themselves that they can do it. With our families, we want you to feel like the school and home operate together to foster the success of your student. So please know we are in this together every step of the way. And then it's very important to me as a leader of my staff to make sure that our teachers feel empowered to lead and inspired to make a difference every day, that they have the great honor to work with children. I said I would come back to the aspect of communities, and one of the ways that we really work to promote that at Liberty is our community structure. This is how Liberty supports the middle school teaming model. So you may have heard them referred to at other middle schools as teams. We call them communities. And the names of our communities are derived directly from our mission statement. We have Team Revolution, Team Transformation, and Team Legacy. And we work really hard to schedule students on the same team. Now, depending on course recommendations, there is some overlap at times, or cross-teaming, as we say. But we really believe in this model because it really helps make a large school keep a small feel. It also scaffolds that transition from elementary to high school. It enables us to plan interdisciplinary lessons for our students so they can see how different content areas connect and how skills transfer from one class to another. While we have not been able to do community days this year due to COVID, we're hoping at some point to get back to them, and our community days are just great ways that we work to on those team building skills, character development, and community service. So we work to embed all of those pieces through our community structure. In terms of learning environments for the upcoming school year, there are 3 options that parents are going to have for their students. The first one, and the preferred delivery model in order to fully meet students' social, emotional, and academic needs, is the face-to-face. As educators, we believe that this is the best model. Oh, it's giving me an error message. Okay. Is it okay? Sorry, it took me off. Okay. We do believe that the face-to-face delivery model is what's best for students. It's how they're able to have that social education that takes place in the backdrop of the academic education. And so that's certainly especially at these middle school years where we're really trying to foster those executive functioning skills, the social skills. So that's my plug for face-to-face, I guess. But however, we recognize that every family has unique needs to consider, especially in the middle of the pandemic. So there will be 2 options that are virtual options for families next year. The first one being a virtual with live elements, where there will be live sessions for each course daily, and those are not optional as they've been this year. Those are mandatory. Active participation is what's going to determine attendance. So, and then there's also, we will still continue to have the existing FBA model, which is an asynchronous virtual, much like the experienced students have had this school year. We're going to go into much more detail about these 3 options on April 14th. We'll have a completely separate information night about the learning environment options. And that survey for parents to declare their learning environment for next school year will be available after spring break and through April 30th. So just if you're interested in coming to that information night, please mark your calendar so that you can join us and learn more about the 3 options for next year. And now you've heard my voice a lot. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Lawson to talk to you more about our schedule at Liberty.
Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to share a little bit here in the next few minutes about the kind of typical day and the experience for those students that are going to be attending Liberty in the face-to-face environment for next year. First and most importantly, as our sixth graders know, the middle school day is a little bit longer. It's a little bit later in the day than the elementary school, but certainly, and also a little bit later than the high school day. Just a little bit of a technical interruption there, but as far as our arrival to school, we do open our doors at 7:45 in the morning, so students can be dropped off into the cafeteria starting at 7:45. They're supervised when they arrive, and then some teachers will have help sessions available for students in the morning. They can hang out in the cafeteria until those help sessions begin as teachers schedule them. We do serve breakfast every day starting at 8:30, and we open up our hallways for students to go down, get themselves set up for the day, put their materials in their lockers, and move on to their first class between 8:35 and 9 o'clock. Also, typically buses will arrive on campus between 8:30 and 8:35, sometimes as late as 8:45, but we do have our buses rolling in around that same time. The school day is scheduled to start right away, straight away at 9 o'clock in the morning. This year in particular, we've utilized a block day schedule with an alternating red and blue day schedule. For next year, we're looking to do some sort of a combination between a block and what we're calling our Patriot Day, and you see the listing there on your screen. We'll go into more detail in the next slide as far as what the time frame of those days are going to look like. But on red days, we'll have students go to their even class periods plus our Patriot Time. Patriot Time is our homeroom window that happens there during the school day. And on blue days, they'll go to their odd numbered classes, with each day having 2, possibly 3 academic classes, and then one of their connections classes each day. As far as the middle school day, the school day does end at 4:15. One of the things that we're always working on is trying to make sure that we get our students into school and out of school as quickly and efficiently as possible. One of the things that you'll see me, and several of you may already see me in the afternoons managing the car line, we do just ask for your patience and kindness in the car line as we try to make sure that everybody can get home as quick as they can. We know a lot of our families have after school activities that they're trying to get to. And then ultimately, as far as our dismissal procedures, it's really important that students know how they're getting home each and every day, whether they're going to be a car rider or a bus rider. And families, you can always check your parent portal account to make sure that your students know where they're going to be for their bus route each and every day. Again, we said this year we're using a block schedule with alternating red and blue days. For next year, we are looking to make some updates to that. We're trying to incorporate some more of those classes where, or days when teachers can see all of their classes all at once throughout the school day. So for next year, we are projecting to have some red days, again, where we see the even classes plus a Patriot Time, and then blue days where we see our odd numbered classes. And then we're also going to incorporate some days that we're calling our Patriot Days, and that's where you see each of the different classes for a shorter period of time during the day, but you get a chance to have a little bit more of that traditional middle school schedule like our students are used to from other years. Granted, our sixth graders this year should be ready to roll with the block, but our seventh graders for next year will have a little bit of a unique experience going back to having some of those full-on 7-period days. We've not yet determined what our schedule structure is going to look like, which days are going to be red days or blue days or Patriot Days. We are still looking to make some of those decisions later on in the spring and possibly even into the summer. But as we start the next school year, we'll be sending out announcements through Campus Messenger just to let families know what our general schedule structure is going to look like, so you can plan accordingly for each of the different days that we have here at school. And that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Mrs. Keys so she can talk a little bit more about our academic program.
Hello, everyone. As you can see here, for our 7th grade, our core 4 academics are the same as 6th grade. We have English, language arts, math, science, and social studies. Your student will also either participate in a study skills class, which will focus a lot on executive functioning and supporting them in their other academics. Or we also offer an academic support class for those students that need extra help and assistance in mathematics or reading. So we have those there, and really the big push in 7th grade for our academics is the increase in rigor for our 7th grade students. And it's really the time for them to build skills in self-advocacy, responsibility, time management, and then of course, possibly experiencing some failure, and finding out how they respond to that. So asking themselves the question, what do I do when I struggle? How do I find the supports that I need? And of course, we're there every step of the way to help them in realizing those next steps as they build their self-advocacy and responsibility through these courses. So in terms of on-level and advanced, we always ask our families and parents to question what's best for my student, and how you can do that is asking some of these factor questions. So is my student an independent reader? Is my student a problem solver? Also, is my student engaged in a lot of extracurricular activities that we might need to consider having some balance within their day? Are they a fan of project-based learning? Are they a strong writer? And are they highly motivated? For any of our classes, we have a large literacy component, you know, that reading and writing, we try to integrate into multiple contents. So those questions are particularly important as you consider those advanced classes for your child. And then of course, later on, we'll talk about just how much we want our students to be connected, not just to academics, but to other passions and interests. So those are always good questions to keep in mind as you consider placement for your child.
In addition to the academic segments, we also offer students an opportunity to engage in our connections classes. Currently, sixth graders have the opportunity to take connections classes in several different areas. For next year, we are looking to offer a lot of the same connections classes and opportunities for students to connect to subjects that are outside the traditional 4 core academic subjects. For next year, we are looking to offer for our quarter-long connections for our rising 7th graders, agricultural science, computer science, engineering and technology, and marketing in our CTAE department. For our health and physical fitness and physical education department, we are offering health and PE. For students who are interested in looking at some weight training options, those are also potentially some options for students to get into in their PE schedule as well. We're also looking to offer drama and music potentially as part of our fine arts department. And in addition to those quarter-long connections for those students that are interested in really pursuing their passions in the arts, we are going to be offering musical theater as a year-long elective option, and band as well as a year-long elective option. We're really excited about the opportunity to offer those fine arts programs for our students as just another avenue for them to engage and connect and be a part of something bigger as they move from one school year into the other. When it comes to our course recommendations, we have gone through the process of gathering course recommendations from our teachers just to make sure that we're placing students appropriately based on their demonstrated needs, whether it's a need for support or a need for additional enrichment or advancement or acceleration in some cases. When we have students that are crossing from one school to another, we also partner with our other middle schools across the school system to make sure that we're receiving the best information about those students' course placements for the upcoming school year. So any students that are transferring to us from another middle school, just know that we're working with your current middle schools to make sure that we get the right schedule in place for you. And we'll build schedules based on the information that's shared with us from teacher recommendations. Now, what's going to happen here in the next few weeks, in particular the week after spring break, we are going to be opening up our registration portal where families will have an opportunity to view their current course requests and make elective course choices. So if you're a student that's interested in taking band or musical theater, we also are going to have a weight training option for our 7th graders. If you're interested in taking those courses, we'll have guidance for how you can register for those courses to add them to your list of course requests for the next school year. What we're also going to offer for our families is an opportunity to request a change to your academic courses. If there's a course that you're interested in changing the level, whether it's from an on-level to an advanced, or possibly from an advanced back down to an on-level, we're going to have a course change consideration form that you'll be able to submit, and then a member of the team here at Liberty will process any of those changes based on what we have, the evidence of a student's demonstrated need or demonstrated ability to be advanced or enriched as we go throughout this spring. So when it comes to our registration, really be on the lookout for an email coming to you directly, starting is on Monday, April 12th. That's the Monday after spring break. That'll have a lot of information for you, including current course recommendations for the next school year, as well as links to directions for our registration, elective registration, and for our course change request form. At this point now, we're really going to turn the corner and stop talking some about the day here at school, but really now getting to talk a little bit more about your teenagers. And I'm going to turn it back over to Mrs. Thrower and Mrs. Sabo to take on the next part.
Hey there, everybody. This is Mrs. Sabo talking. I'm one of your current counselors here at Liberty, and I just want to welcome you to the teenage years. Your 7th graders are going to turn most likely 13 at some point during the year with us, and so this is a great time to talk about what is normal. It is probably the most question I get from parents in the 7th grade, is this behavior normal? So I want to talk about what is normal, because for whatever is happening with your child is normal for your child, and we can talk through that. As Mrs. Thrower talked about at the beginning of the presentation, she's in the thick of these things, and I have just come out the other end of middle school with my 2 girls, and we also are surviving and thriving. So just want to acknowledge that the years are hard, but they're fast and they go quickly. So we are here for you to work with you. Don't hesitate to reach out, and we can talk through some of those things. The push and pull of teenage years is completely normal. We want our children to spread their wings a little bit and be prepared for the day that they end up leaving our nest. So some of the things that you will see that are normal are testing those limits, friendships and drama, irritability, forgetfulness, and being easily annoyed and frustrated. Sometimes these feel like a little bit of a regression, and we can talk about that as well. All right, so navigating some of these new behaviors and habits, getting a little more specific on some of the behaviors that you have to look forward to, and some of you may already be experiencing, is some of the eye rolling, pushing those limits, some language they may be trying out, personal space, and hygiene. So these issues are, again, normal, and they are things that are part of the testing limits process that all of our children need to go through, and they're going to do them in the safety of our own homes and in the safety of the middle school environment. We talk often about those children that don't make any mistakes in middle school. We're more concerned about than the children who do make mistakes in middle school when the stakes do get higher, just like we were talking about with grades. It's right on the horizon for them, for grades to become very important. Also, these behaviors that they don't try out in middle school become more critical as they move on. So the law of behavior is that it does get worse before it gets better, but hang on to your humor. Consequences, positive and negative, are your allies. So we are here to partner with you on that as well. If you ever need anything, suggestions on that, do not hesitate to reach out to the counseling office. Set clear expectations, and most importantly, be consistent. So those rules should not change as much. A lot of wavering. Of course, our kids are great at negotiation, and so those things can tend to change, but try to be as consistent as possible. Children want that, our teenagers especially. That makes them feel safe and secure knowing that you're going to be consistent. And then take the time to listen. So often it's hard to get them to open up. Give them their space, honor that. The drama is very real to them. So this is all very new to them. Maybe friendships are starting to ebb and flow a little bit. You may start seeing new names in text messages or requests to hang out with new kids. This is all very normal as well. Who was our friend in 3rd through 5th grade? Often children start to change, interests become different, and so they start to make new friends. One of the things that we know developmentally is through 5th or 6th grade, a lot of friendships have been designed around who the family participates in things with, maybe church or activities that families share together. And so when children get to middle school, they start to pick their own friends separate from the family unit. So it's really important to understand that and listen to understand. Try not to problem solve everything. Again, We want them to experience these things so that we can then help them on the back end of it, so to hopefully do things better the next time. So again, if these things are happening, we want to honor both on the days they want to talk and on the days they are standoffish. So you're actually going to get more of, if you haven't had it already, what went on in school today? Nothing. Or please don't ask me about that, things like that. We want to honor both of those. Obviously, if there's something you're very concerned about, please reach out to the school. We're here to help you with that. Your child's going through a lot of cognitive changes, and those are happening. This is real. This is biologically what's happening in their brain. So the biggest shift is a complete change in the way your child thinks and approaches problems. It is at this age that kids go from more literal and self-absorbed perspective that they've been using to view the world for the first few years of their lives to a more metacognitive state. This is really important because it means that they're starting to develop the ability to be aware of their own thoughts as well as others' thoughts. This is why we push social emotional learning so much at the middle school, because this is when our children are becoming more universally and globally aware of what's happening to others. And we really have an opportunity to help our children be more empathetic at this stage. So that social awareness and wanting to fit in is very important. All of these things happening together are very stressful for your child. So what we want to just touch on here for just a minute, there's a great analogy I like to use with parents about your child swimming in the deep end of the pool. They get tired. If it's their first go at that, that's a hard thing to do. So you might remember when your child was younger, you dangling your feet into the water at the deep end, and they would swim out maybe to the middle those first few times and try. They might come back and hang on your legs for a few minutes, rest up and try it again. That all is a great way to think of that you're just there if they need you, but they need to take that leap and try that. And then it's all about the friendships around here. Most important thing in their life from time to time when they're in middle school. And again, that's going to ebb and flow. And that is normal. Again, they're trying out relationships. Very, very important. We talk about that here all the time too with kiddos about how this is all practice for the real world. It's mini world here at Liberty and middle school in general. So they're trying out relationships. That's why things get so dramatic. They get their feelings hurt. They may have heard something about themselves for the first time. Those things are all very difficult. So again, we're here to partner with you if you're going through that for the first time. Teens start to withdraw from parental figures and seek other adults or friends as role models. The great news here is I would love for any of these people to be involved in my own children's lives. So you have a fantastic team of adults here to be role models at Liberty. They will seek out their own peer groups to associate with. So again, this touches on what I was talking about before, that they start to yield away from the family unit a little bit and start to pick their own friends. So that's why in middle school, we're no longer, mom creating play dates, things like that. They start to pick their own friends. And they will encounter peer pressure. It's bound to happen. So the need to conform and be accepted to the ideas of the group. So we do a lot of talking about that and trying to have children empower themselves to be proud of who they are. We really try to boost their self-efficacy so that when they're in those peer pressure moments, they are able to make their own decisions. So we'd love to touch on a few helpful hints here about friendships because it's so important. Try to know who their friends and their friends' parents are. That'll be very helpful in case there is that need to reach out and have that relationship in place in case there's something that needs to be discussed. Also put rules in place before they are needed. This is very important and great advice in all areas. You can touch on things such as social media in this area, things like that. If the expectation is already in place when you're presented with the problem, that child already knows how you're going to react, and that can be a huge benefit for you. And we ask that you partner with us to be a parent, and it can be very, very difficult because you start to see very adult-like behavior. It gets easier to have conversations with your children as they dive into the teenage years, you start to feel like they're mini adults, but they are not. We want to remember that they're going to have hard days where they need you to be their parent. And if we're forging friendships with our children over that consistency and that parent, then that area starts to get gray, and our children can actually feel not as safe and secure in situations like that. So being a parent over a friend is very important. Again, these are very, very big topics, and we understand that. We tried to give you a snapshot of the things that may go on. I also want to say that is one of my favorite year in middle school. They are hilarious human beings. They are so creative and fantastic, and 7th grade is absolutely my favorite. So I know this was very, very heavy, but you have a fantastic year ahead. It's really, really fun. So don't lose sight of that. And a lot of it is very funny. So keep your humor. Sometimes you have to do it behind a closed door because they take this life very, very seriously, as they should, because it is theirs. But try not to lose your humor. If you do, call the counseling office. We can help you. Thank you.
One of the more important and maybe more serious things that we can talk about a little bit here this evening really has to do a lot with the devices that we allow our children to come to school with, whether it's Chromebooks or computers or the cell phones that parents purchase that they allow their children to use. And I use that language really specifically, and Mrs. Thrower is going to back me up on that here in just a minute. But we want to talk a little bit about the responsibility that students have with respect to their the devices that you allow for them to have and use. Really, when it comes to our discipline incidents here at school, a lot of them stem from inappropriate technology use, whether it's during the school day or after the school day. We've dealt with situations this year with situations happening on social media or across text messaging chains where students are being mean to one another or being hurtful to one another. We also see that that pornography has become an increasingly problematic issue. It's still pretty rare, but it's the frequency of those incidents happening where students are viewing inappropriate images, again, either at home or possibly at school, are on the rise, unfortunately, because when we give our kids a cell phone, we give them access to everything. And it's really important as parents that we're setting those boundaries and expectations. As far as the school is concerned, we do our best to monitor and provide support for student technology use. But we really do have to rely on families to partner with us with respect to technology use with our students. And again, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Thrower to share a little bit more of her best thoughts on student technology use.
So yeah, thank you, Mr. Watson. And to echo what Mr. Watson was saying, we do have a program that we use called NetRef, which does help us to limit student access when they're in the building. However, the moment they go off of our Wi-Fi network and start to utilize the data plans that you provide to them, if they have cell phones, and most of them do, we have no way to police that. It's as Mr. Watson said, we've handed them the world when we give them these devices. And as you know, there's pros and cons to that. So we just encourage you to have open conversations with your student and set those boundaries in terms of their technology use. Often they don't understand, especially the discipline instances that we've dealt with in relation to pornography. They don't understand that they have engaged in an illegal act when they send a pornographic picture to a friend. And so just making them aware of those pieces is critical. The other thing to remember, and I say this to my girls all the time, it's my phone, not theirs. So at any point that I want to take it, that I want to look through text messages, that I want to monitor apps, all of those things, I do it. And we have to talk about violating their privacy, and I tell them, guys, if it's something you really don't want me to know about, one, I want to know why. And two, let's think of some other ways for you to journal, for you to call your friend and have a conversation with them. Go back to, our days of writing notes. But it's just, as an administrator, and then my husband is a school counselor, we've just seen too many things happen with kids and technology to not take this seriously. And so I just want to impart some of that wisdom to you all tonight. The other thing I would suggest is to take the tech away at night. My girls know that their phones have to charge in my room overnight. They don't have chargers in their room for that reason, and the phones come with me. And that's for a couple of reasons. The main one being that I was working with a student a couple of years ago, and they weren't sleeping at night because they were staying up playing games on their phone. So for one thing, just to encourage healthy sleep habits is one reason to take it away. And then the other piece I would encourage you is to monitor their apps. And there's all types of ways to set this up. I'm sure some of you are aware. When my girls try to download an app, it has to come through my phone or mine or my husband's for approval first so that we can vet it. It's also just a rule in our house that while they have phones, they are not allowed to be on social media. And that's just a personal decision that we've made as a family in regards to the research out there about teens being more depressed who are on social media. And so that's a decision we've made as a family. So I would just have those conversations, have them regularly, and don't be afraid to set really firm boundaries around that technology, because as Mr. Watson pointed out, there's a large spectrum of how the discipline is related to the tech, but 9 times out of 10, the discipline issue begins with something regarding technology. So it's just our reality, and we need to train our students how to use these devices before just handing them over to them. All right, like Ms. Sabo said, I know that's a lot of heavy stuff. It's good, it is a really fun year to come ahead, and she's going to talk more about the really positive ways that we like to see kids get connected at Liberty.
Yeah, so we know that, while technology offers a lot of ways for students to communicate with one another, there is really no comparison to the opportunity that students have at Liberty to get connected with each other, to build relationships with peers that have common interests and passions, and to really connect to those through the clubs that we do offer. So as you can see here on the screen, we have clubs such as DECA, our National FFA, Vets Robotics, FCA, esports is even coming on board. So there's even more of an opportunity for students to connect, in that way. We have Academic Bowl, Cross Country, Humane Hearts, Junior Beta, and Math Club. Also, through our athletics, we offer football, basketball, cheerleading, track, and golf. So these are just great ways for students to build relationships with one another and really dive into the Liberty culture and stay connected to our community and really increase their connection to interests.
And the 7th grade year is the first year that they are eligible to play in our competitive sports. So we strongly encourage kids to try out for athletics if that's something that they are passionate about. And just to reiterate, we have, Ms. Sabo said, just an incredible staff of adults who genuinely love kids and are in this business for that reason. So please know that we're here to partner with you to help no matter what comes your way this year. Our teachers are phenomenal and spend a lot of time with your kids. It's one of our core values that the relationships are the foundation of our work. So you can rest assured they're going to take time to get to know your student. Same with our counseling staff, just incredibly dedicated ladies who will go above and beyond no matter what the need is of the students. Our administrative team, again, while we get sometimes, in the minutia of contact tracing and scheduling and all those things, how we really prefer to spend our time is in classrooms and connecting with students. So if there's anything you ever need from us, please don't hesitate to reach out. And we also have a phenomenal nurse. And speaking of her, I do want to take a moment just as something that is particular to 7th grade is an immunization requirement. And this is a Georgia state law. So please just know this is not Liberty. This is not Forsyth County. This is Georgia state law that all public school students, including virtual, so even if you're planning to be a virtual learner next year, but any public school student entering 7th grade has to have certain vaccinations, including the adolescent pertussis, hopefully I'm saying that right, which is a whooping cough vaccination, and I believe that's a booster, because I think they get the first one as infants, but it's the booster that they need. And then the adolescent meningococcal or MCV4, we'll say. So proof of both of those must be documented on the Georgia immunization certificate. The good news is if your child has been immunized by their pediatrician, more than likely our school nurse has access to that record. She has access to the Georgia Registry of Immunizations and can look that up. So you don't need to physically bring a form or send a form in. Just verify with your pediatrician or healthcare provider that your student is up to date on these vaccinations, and our school nurse will be able to pull that information and verify it. If they are not, please schedule that with your healthcare provider, or those can also be received through the Department of Health through Forsyth County. And if you have any questions, there's an entire page on our website dedicated to this information, and you are welcome to reach out to our nurse anytime. As I said, she is amazing, and we'll be happy to walk you through any questions you have, and her contact information is right there for you. I also just want to give a quick plug for our PTSO. We have an amazing group of ladies who work so hard to support our students, our staff, the whole community. And so I strongly encourage our families to join. There'll be more information coming out this summer and in the fall as we get the school year underway on different levels of membership. But please consider that they do so much. 100% of your donation or your pledge will come back to the school. And then lastly, I think that our chat feature tonight, I don't know that it was working. So we do have an opportunity for you to submit any questions that you have tonight. And a member of our team will get back to you. And hold on just a second, I think we're gonna get you.
It's in there, but I don't know if it's because you've already been presenting this.
I think it
refreshed.
is, yeah. Hold on just a second, but let me refresh, because we've actually typed out the URL for you, so that you can plug that into your browser, since you can't actually click on my hyperlink in this format. So let's scroll down, and we'll present again. Okay, so there it is. Since you can't click on my hyperlink directly in the Microsoft Live model, you can type in the tiny URL there in your browser. It'll take you directly to a Google form where you can submit any question that you have, and a member of our team will get back to you so that we can answer any questions you have. Thank you again for joining us tonight. I know that this was a lot of information. If you have friends or neighbors who were unable to join the live session, we will post a recording on our website tomorrow morning. So please direct them there. And again, we're thrilled to have another school year next year with our returning Patriots and those coming to us from North Middle. It's going to be a fantastic year. I think we're going to be able to get back to a little bit more normalcy, and we're all excited about that. And we just welcome you, and we're excited to serve you here at Liberty. Have a great evening, and we will see you soon.